Justin Herbert got the bag.
Massive bag.
Congrats to Justin Herbert. You
Absolutely.
deserved it. Pretty much, he's number one for a quarterback in all statistical categories, I believe, except for one, and that's passing touchdowns. But he's number one in total touchdowns. He's number one in yards, number one in completion percentage. So, shout out to Justin Herbert. You're playing for the Chargers. That takes an emotional toll on you where you need the money to kind of justify it. You're in California as well. They're going to take a lot of taxes out of it as well. But congrats. Well earned for Justin Herbert.
Yes, 5 years, $262 million. He's going to be making insane money, and he's on pace to be one of the best statistical quarterbacks of his time. I mean, he's got the most passing touchdowns for the first 3 years. He's got the most passing yards. So now, if he can win a couple playoff games for them, if he can bring them to the AFC Championship, I feel like for Chargers fans, that's enough in and of
Yeah,
itself.
I think that's enough. But do you think with this contract now that Justin Herbert is good enough and will develop enough dog in him where he'll be able to overcome that contract with the lack of team they'll be able to put around him? Because I don't think they'll be able to get better than what they have put around him, especially with that contract. And then is our quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, eventually, and Josh Allen, who are definitely better, going to want to restructure their deals from this.
Well, I already know Patrick Mahomes does, but it's like I think for him, he's gonna need his coach. Like you have Joe Burrow, he's got Zach Taylor, he's been great. Obviously, Andy Reid. Every quarterback needs their quarterback contemporary, and
Whisper, yeah.
yeah, Brandon Staley's not the guy, and neither was Anthony. Of all the quarterbacks that are in the top 10, he has had the worst coaching to him with Brandon Staley and Anthony Lynn. They're terrible. So hopefully, this is the last year with Brandon Staley. They go out, they get a good coach for him. Wanted them to get Sean Payton. We'll get to him in a few minutes, but somebody that's going to be getting the dog out of him because right now he doesn't really have any.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of a Josh Allen situation. Josh Allen's definitely a better runner, but when it comes to throwing the football and what we've seen consistently over their first 3 years, I think as a passer, Justin Herbert has been better than Josh Allen. And
Hmm.
Allen, I feel like, has benefited from stable head coach, great defense at all times, always
Hmm.
in the top 10 statistical categories. And he had Brian Daboll. You saw Josh Allen, though, when you took Brian Daboll away. He kind of took a step back last year. Some people like want to say it's kind of a fluke, but statistically, the turnovers were there. He was the worst in some categories that are really important, like, touchdown to interception ratio, pretty big one.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like with Justin Herbert, I feel like he also hasn't had like a Stephon Diggs. He hasn't had a Tyreek Hill. Keenan Allen's a very good receiver. I'm not here to discredit Keenan Allen. He's a phenomenal, decade great wide receiver. However, he's often hurt, and I think that he's on the wrong side of 30. Mike Williams is a solid receiver. I think he's a very good wide receiver too. We'll see what they get out of Quinn and Johnson. He's going to be, I think he'll be better than those two at some point, but I want to see him get like a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, I definitely want to see him get someone in that upper echelon. And Keenan Allen is someone where he's not really the answer. And I thought him staying healthy has been an issue over the past few years. And we saw when he did stay healthy, they were able to have one of the best years and make that push to the playoffs.
Hmm.
Now, Mike Williams is starting to show some wear and tear, though. And he's one of those guys where I feel like Mike Williams has a little bit of Des Bryant to him where he relies on his athleticism to make some of those tough catches, but he's not necessarily beating you with his route running. The same, like with Des Bryant, he wasn't an amazing route runner, and when the athleticism went away, you saw him start to teeter away. So definitely time to start looking at a new wide receiver when one of these guys are unhappy.